Last time, we measured how far you can walk to safety. Today, we deal with the stairs you walk down to get there, and with two things people endlessly confuse: the handrail and the guard. Stairs matter more than they look because there is a strong pull in residential work to shrink them, to squeeze them tighter and tighter until they are nearly dangerous. Our stairs over here tend to be steep, the treads shallow, the risers high. So the code sets minimums to keep that squeezing in check. You will see a minimum stair width, something on the order of 860 millimeters for an exit or certain uses, and the size nudges up a little once you're outside a house or a residential occupancy, where people are given a touch more room. Even spiral stairs are controlled, and the clear height, the headroom over the stair, is spelled out and measured a particular way. A small one to know. Right, the minimum number of risers is 3. One or two risers is a tripping hazard, easy to miss, while 3 establishes a rhythm, so your body understands it is going up or coming down. There is an exception for some situations, but the 3 riser minimum can be a genuine headache for a small restaurant or shop, where 2 risers fit beautifully and you end up raising the floor just to make the geometry legal. The code also caps how high a run of stairs can climb before it has to give you relief, a landing, or another level. You cannot run a single flight up the height of several stories and just hope nobody gives out 3/4 of the way up. Now, the part that generates a pile of calculation questions, the dimensions of the steps. There are 4 to track: the width of the stair, the nosing, the run, and the rise. Most of them have a range, an allowable band from a minimum to a maximum, though the nosing only has a maximum. And here's a trap worth memorizing, rather than reasoning out under pressure. The run and the tread are not the same thing. Know what each word means cold, because the definitions are quick points. If a question gives you a stair as a combination, say a particular rise, a particular run, a particular tread, your job is to check each one against its allowable range. If even one of them falls outside, it is not a legal stair, no matter how good the others look. Now, handrails and guards, which are not the same thing, even though one piece of metal often does both jobs. On a stair open along one side, the rail you hold while climbing is also the thing stopping you falling off the edge. So people start treating handrail and guard as 2 words for one object. They are not. A handrail is a support. You hold it by the hand because it is easier and safer to climb and descend with something to grip, so its shape has to be genuinely graspable. A guard is protection. Its job is to stop you falling, and it is required anywhere you could fall more than a certain height, somewhere in the range of 600 to 750 millimeters above the surface below, whether or not there is a stair involved. Its openings are sized so a small child cannot squeeze through the vertical bars. A couple of heights worth carrying. A handrail height runs from about 865 up to 1070 millimeters, depending on the situation, but in most cases it is 1070. And a typical guard height is 1070 millimeters, or 42 inches, and that one is reliable. It does not really wander from case to case, which is exactly why it is worth knowing by heart. So, to gather it up, stairs have minimum widths and headroom, a minimum of 3 risers, and a cap on how far they climb before a landing. Their 4 dimensions, width, nosing, run, and rise, each have a range, and run is not tread. A handrail is a graspable support, sort of. A guard is fall protection required above roughly 600 to 750 millimeters, and the same rail can be both while remaining 2 distinct ideas. Next time, we put the alarms in, and we deal with keeping fire contained inside the home, from smoke alarms to firewalls.